So Larry Goldberg has been on the road again. Years ago, when I was on the road a lot, we used to sing that song, Larry, my partner and I, every time we get back in the cars, on the road again.
I know the song very well, very well.
So this
I've
time,
been on the road
this,
again,
yes,
again, and again this last year, 2 years, 3 years.
and this time, while you've been on the road, Adam Jonas has been learning the ropes. He learned about being an FSD user on a long trip. Talk to me.
Adam Jonas is an extremely interesting analyst. Um, he's intellectual, he's rigorous, and he's also quite imaginative. And he's come the journey. He was one of the biggest bears. In fact, I think he was famously the guy who had a price target of $10 low at the low end, up to $200 at the high.
Yes, I remember. Yeah, right.
This is back when Tesla was in the hundreds. Um, but if I get all of his analysis, and it's proprietary, so you don't want to repeat it, but you don't want to you don't want to quote it too liberally. But it's fair to say that he really has begun to understand the Tesla thesis, probably as well as, if not better than, any of the other analysts who are Tesla bulls. Although there are some, look,
Right.
Pierre Ferragu, Dan
Right.
Ives, these are excellent analysts, and they really do understand the Tesla um, and the Elon Musk story.
Right. Right.
Um, so yeah, and Adam, has taken this road trip. And I want to tell you, as somebody who's done thousands of miles, tens of thousands of miles of road trips in the last 3 years, as you
With
know,
FSD.
with FSD, I mean, that's the whole point about the road trip is FSD. Um, y- you know, only a person who's done that can really understand it. Now, the fascinating thing about it is that he wasn't even using V13.
He's on,
I mean,
just like I am. He's on 12.6
yeah,
with a hardware 3. Yeah.
and I've just this trip is on the Robotaxi. My last trip to Memphis. No, well, my last trip was to Florida in the Cybertruck,
Cybertruck.
and the trip before that was in the Model 3 with hardware 4, which is by far the superior product. I mean, the Cybertruck is not fully dialed in yet. But I want to tell you, it is a pleasure. I get so much work done. I read the books I want to read. I don't read, I listen to the
Yeah.
books I
Yeah.
want
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
catch up with. I conduct telephone calls I need to conduct. And then the other thing I do is I also put my mind into neutral a bit.
Yeah.
I get
Mhm.
some Zen moments on the road. But
So Jonas, though, back to Jonas's
yeah.
impressions. Yeah.
And he took his dog, which I do, and that's a lot of fun. But but only when you do that do you understand the comprehensive implementation of the Tesla system. The charging networks just work. I had a case where I stayed at a hotel that didn't have Tesla chargers.
Mm.
I can't tell you. Firstly, three of the four weren't working. And of course, you try the first three and they
Right. Of
don't
course.
work. And then you say, okay, I'll just try this one. It worked. And then you have to fiddle with your phone and it takes, I mean, hardly worth it. Hardly worth it. Although it's really nice waking up with a full charge and
Right.
you
Right.
can but the hotels that have Tesla chargers, they get my business.
Yeah. Yeah.
So True by Hilton is like my favorite hotel chain now. It's a low cost, you know, hotel chain. Gives me exactly what I need.
Nice.
And it's amazing. I mean, you plug in at night, you wake up and you got, full charge. And of course, the charging network has become amazing,
Right.
just amazing. And
So, yeah.
what's nice, and Adam talks about this. You can actually choose your charging station now because you've got so many trade-off opportunities. I can go to this one instead of that one. Oh, this one's got such and such a store next to it. This one doesn't have stores. So you can actually in the car, you can say, oh, what are the facilities they offer there? What are the stores there? Oh, no, I don't want that one. I want this one. Oh, what's this charge speed of this one? So, I mean, you're talking about a guy that has come all the way from a $20,
Right.
stock pick all the way up to, he's now,
I
in
think
the
he's at
600.
275. I think he's at
What?
275, I
Say
believe.
again?
I think he's at 275.
No, that's his low.
Oh, that's his low.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, he's up to like 275 to 620,
To
somewhere
so
in that range.
oh, okay.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, he's serious. He's serious. He's serious.
Okay.
Um, yeah, that's what I think it was, if I remember his last
Yeah,
piece.
because I wouldn't have been reading the original. I would have been reading the reporting on what somebody else said about the note. And I think all I saw was the 425. I'm 475, rather. I'm sorry, 475, 275.
No, he's definitely not at 275. I'll tell you that because he actually, in fact, I can look it up while we're.
Sure.
I don't know if this one he puts the. Our price out at 410.
Oh,
Uh, so he's at 410.
wow, he's right on the nose today.
Yeah. Five components is $76 a share. Well, you know what? I don't want to read
Yeah,
it
yeah.
because it's not good. It's proprietary. But and that's a combination of the various businesses in Tesla. He understands the combination of the businesses. Um, But I know that he has this range, but I think that's the sort of middle of the range, if I
Okay.
remember
All right.
correctly. So the
Okay.
275 would be probably the low point six, in the 600s.
So should we just all get together, pool our money, and send a Tesla car to each of these analysts and say,
I'm
hey,
telling you. I'm telling you. No, what we should do though is offer them a Tesla car between wherever they are and Austin, Texas.
right, right. Let them come down, take the tour.
Provide their road trip, tell them they can bring their wife and dog, and we'll pay for all the power energy all the way there, put
Oh,
it on our account, get them to Texas, get them in a Robotaxi. And by the way, I think we're going to see an expansion of the Robotaxi service next month.
okay, next month. All right. Next month, meaning
Some
October.
Yeah, sometime in the October timeframe, and certainly by the end of next quarter, I think they're going to do all the major cities in Texas. Wherever there's a service center, there will be a Robotaxi. So
Okay.
all the major cities in Texas by the end of the year, my prediction.
Okay. All right. We'll write that one down, Larry. I'm bookmarking it now in
All
my
right.
in my
All right.
bookmark right there. Well, that'd be great. That would certainly be an indication. Well, that would be along the lines of, now you said you had other breadcrumbs for that. What are your other breadcrumbs?
I don't want to get into too many details about the breadcrumbs, but that's the evidence. I mean, that's what I see in
That's
the
your
evidence.
conclusion based on things
Yeah,
that are, yeah, okay. I mean, Elon's biggest breadcrumb would be we're going to be able to service half of the population of the United States by the end of the year. And it would certainly, being able to service all the cities in Texas, California, Florida would really give them a huge piece of that pie.
it really would. And I'm not sure where else they would open up because I'm not sure about regulatory issues and so on and so forth in terms of other populous states.
Yeah. You have some pretty, believe it, I mean, you think of Arizona as being a small state, but they have a couple of, two or three really big cities now.
Yeah.
They're in the top 15. I think Phoenix is in the top 15 now. And then you've got Atlanta. So Georgia would be another likelihood. I think there's 6 million in the total
Georgia.
Atlanta, loop or something like that on that order. Maybe it's
Possible.
it's on that level. It's
Yeah,
the top
possible.
regional sections in the country. Anyway, I'm sure he's got a plan. Speaking of having a plan, Larry, he probably knows exactly how he's going to reach that half of the population. It's probably on a map on his wall. He probably has it all played out, and he probably has it all played out in terms of the timing, and he
Yeah.
probably has it all planned out in terms of when there's going to be the rider taken out, and give or take a week or so or month or whatever.
I'm not a rider being taken out too early kind of guy. I'm in March next year in terms of the riders, the safety driver being taken out.
Do you think we could have hundreds of safety riders?
Yeah, I think we'll have hundreds, if not thousands of
Oh,
safety
interesting.
drivers. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Now, there was another interesting thing that today, this morning, kind of got overwhelmed by the other news, which we'll talk about in a minute, but a hire to map out and figure out and understand all the airports in the world. That was a pretty significant move.
Yeah, and every airport is its own map and its own detail. There's a lot of work to be done around airports, but I think Tesla will definitely be the first self-driving car to service the airports.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it sounds like, that doesn't, as big a job as that sounds like, given the capabilities that we have on AI today, it would seem like you could pull that together and
Yeah.
without too much difficulty. Um, so if we're going to have that kind of a rollout, which that's what people are looking for, they're looking for that rollout. If we have Elon, as one article had it today, the headline was Elon Musk puts his money where his mouth is. So that was the big story on this morning when I woke up. It's
Well,
like, oh,
there are two things about that story. The first is we did learn today that Elon can vote his own shares
yeah,
in the board resolution
right.
in Texas. So one can imagine that, he's probably done some math and decided an extra $1 billion worth of shares would be a good thing to own. It's about a little bit more than 0.6%, maybe almost 0.7% of the equity, the way I calculated.
Okay.
And the other thing is, people don't understand, Elon actually has cash now
Yeah.
because, he's completely relieved of all the debt that XAI,
Yeah.
assumed. And so he's probably quite flush. But, it's what I've been saying for some time, that we now see that Tesla have done this transition. They've done all the hard work for this transition to the new Tesla, to the embodied AI company, embodied AI and energy, and that change has been wrought. And I think Elon's just doing what I'm doing, is writing that, seeing that transition is taking place. Now he's investing in that company. So it's a very exciting time. I think that and I only have to say, Gary Black, pay attention. It's interesting. I subscribed to Gary Black for some years, and I was critical of him, but he responded in kind, and we had this, I thought, respectful debate. When I canceled my subscription, which I did because I like to spread my subscriptions across multiple people, I thought I'd, been subscribing to him for, I don't know, 2 years. And the moment I unsubscribed, he canceled me. So I thought, he blocked me.
Yeah.
He blocked me. So I thought, this is not. And we'd had a respectful debate. I think we debated on the Tesla Bull show that Herbert runs.
Yeah.
And I thought this is not acceptable.
Yeah.
So obviously I've gone ahead and blocked him because,
Okay.
but it's a pity that people can't debate respectfully and accept that.
Yeah. It seems
But, and particularly since he's so wrong.
he needs our help. He needs
Yes.
Yes.
His view is that the stock has gone up so dramatically because people realize that they're going to beat the deliveries this quarter. They don't understand the deliveries don't mean a bloody thing.
I'm figuring it's a nickel a quarter, Larry.
Nickel a quarter.
Nickel a quarter. If we beat by 50,000 in each quarter, it's about a nickel per share. Now, if we beat on energy, which I think we will, I think we'll beat on energy by about 4 gigawatts, that'll be about 30 cents a share. So nobody's paying any attention to that. Gary's not interested in that. But boy, we got to get that extra 50,000 cars.
It is, he has got his head so deeply stuck in the sand. I could be wrong, and I'd be happy to debate him and have this conversation. But when he did the analysis for the robot for Optimus, he starts his analysis by saying there's a market for 500,000 robots, because right now we sell globally about 500,000 robots. So he said, well, maybe we'll get to 1 million. I mean, and he's talking about industrial robots that cost anything from $150,000 to $500,000 a piece.
Yeah.
And millions, actually, some of them. But he's talking about industrial robots.
Yeah, I know.
Anyway, so
all right. So you've given me half of the potential psychological or economic reason that Elon might have done the purchase at this exact time. It was just before the vote, or just before.
Also, he wanted to get the share price to 420, right?
Did he want to get to 420? There's also, so what else? What else might be psychologically going on? Because this was from his family trust. This is money from the trust.
Well, the family trust holds most of his shares right now, and so that's the vehicle that invests all his money in all his ventures. I don't think he may own some personal shares, but I think most of them are owned in the family trust, which is pretty normal.
Right.
I think, I've proposed, and I have a YouTube video in production right now.
See,
I've proposed that he buy Apple.
that he buy Apple.
I don't think it's such a ridiculous idea.
I've just
come from TeslaCon in Florida.
Yes.
At TeslaCon in Florida, I laid out my plan for why Elon should buy control of Apple.
Right.
Not Tesla, but Elon.
Elon himself. Okay.
Yeah, because Apple would fit beautifully into his group of companies, into his family companies, because Apple's a dead company. It's a bunch of old men running a bunch of old products, but they have incredible assets.
Yeah.
And they have incredible earning power. But they have incredibly poor product management.
Right.
Elon needs a device that can talk directly to the satellites.
Yeah.
It's clear.
Yeah.
Elon needs a device that is integrated with a car.
Right.
That's clear. Elon needs a device. Elon needs to provide grok to the device and this is the key. This is the heart of it. Apple has got this incredible personal information on people.
Yeah.
In the Apple Cloud.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody's got their personal stuff because they can rely upon it. And Elon needs to buy Apple or get control of Apple, and I'll explain why it's so easy. Not easy, but why it's possible. Because the value of Apple is to take AI and make everybody's personal account with Apple their own AI, their digital twin.
Right, right.
And it's very powerful. Even Google with, Android couldn't do what Apple can do in terms of a digital twin of the individual, giving the power of the Apple infrastructure or,
right.
environment. And so, the marriage of grok with Apple would be magical. And then, of course, the grok in the car would then have access to your whole personal stuff. And I mean, think about, the Tesla Apple integration, the Apple XAI integration, the Apple X integration, the Apple SpaceX integration with, the Starlink.
100%.
And then the Apple and Neuralink integration.
Right.
So it just seems to me that nobody can bring products to market that are more powerful than XAI combined with Apple. Apple may be worth $4 trillion. I forget. I don't even know the actual.
I think it's not. I think it's in the 3.5, maybe now.
Oh, so it's very cheap.
Okay.
So it was only 3.5. Okay. But my sense is that Elon would only have to buy 10% of that company.
10%?
To control it.
Okay.
Because I think Buffett has got like 6%.
I hit it on the nose.
This is just, pardon?
3.5.
Oh, 3.5. Well, then maybe it doesn't even 10%, but 10% will probably do it.
Okay.
Well, that's only $320 billion. No, but I mean, serious.
Yeah.
If it's $320 billion, Elon would only have to come up with $60 to $70 billion, and you can go to the private markets for the balance.
Yeah.
I'd write a check tomorrow, not in the billions, but I'd write a check tomorrow. And everybody in my position would write a check tomorrow. So I think he should take control. Yeah, Buffett had 6%, I think, at the peak, right? Okay. So he's down to 3%. Yeah. So for less than $400 billion, Elon could leverage himself, sufficiently to come up to acquire 10%, and then he could get rid of the aging management. He could get some real product management back into that company, and he could take the advantage of that incredible infrastructure and environment and product and customer base and private data stores that everybody has in the Apple universe. Every Apple user has in the Apple universe, and I think it's a win-win-win-win.
All right. Well, that's boy, Larry, you're just full of ideas today. We've got Tesla taking over Texas, and we've got Elon buying Apple. That's 2 headlines. I've only got
Elon buying Apple as an idea I came up with last week. I think I mentioned it first on Well, I don't even remember which show. I've
Yeah.
been talking about it, and I went, when I presented at TeslaCon in
Yeah.
Florida, I spoke about
So, but I only have one thumbnail, Larry. So what am I going to do? And now I've got two. I have two headlines and only one thumbnail.
it. Right? You can cut the conversation too.
All right. Well, let's see here. There's more. There's more. There's more.
Oh, there's more.
Do
Do
you
we need more?
do you think that the $1 billion worth of purchases on, I guess it was Friday, was enough to actually have any impact on the stock? I mean, it was already moving on Thursday, and I don't think the
No, but the fact that Elon is buying stock has enormous impact on
so that
this.
it impacted the day. All right. So let's talk about what do you think this does to institutional investors? What does it do to the retail investor? How do they think
I
about it?
think it's important for institutional investors to see the CEO, founder, and primary driver, product, technology lead show such confidence. I mean, $1 billion is not, it's not child's play. I mean, it's not trivial.
It's the largest insider investment ever in history in one throw.
Yeah, I mean, it's an important investment. I think I would like to see him follow up with more, but I don't think it's necessary. I mean, I don't consider this to be the price and the base
Right.
of the next expansion of the Tesla stock.
Well, you don't. Okay.
I do not. I think Tesla stock could well come back to the 300s, and before it goes up again.
From a technical standpoint, this was that old all-time high. It was at 410. That was the one I called a while back when it blew through 410 on its way to 488. And I was just calling for the all-time high where Brian Wong was calling for 450, and he turned out to be a little more right than I did. But this 410, now it's come back down and it's stopped. It's held at 410. I agree with you. It could absolutely go back into the threes, but there's a pretty good argument to be made that, especially given all the catalysts that we're looking at, especially in the next week or so, as we go into these beats on October 2nd, that this could be a new floor.
I just don't see it. If we were closer, I think that the first financial reports on Robotaxi, which we are going to start getting in the first quarter of next year, will not even be enough. I think the reports that we get in the second quarter and the third quarter will give us metrics that we can use to calculate out where the Robotaxi is going to go. That's going to provide the floor to the 400. So while it would be nice to see this as the floor, I don't see the platform. And you only have to look at the Gary Black analysis. He's still calculating out the value of the auto industry and the energy
Right.
company and the energy company.
Mm-hmm.
So as long as he's doing that, you have to know that more than half of the analysts on Wall Street are doing the same.
Mm-hmm.
They're only the Pierre Ferragu, Dan Ives,
Adam Jonas and such.
Yeah, exactly. So until the analyst community as a whole start looking at the company, the Tesla company, as an embodied AI company, and that won't happen until they can start getting metrics that they can, key on.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that we've got ups and downs to go through before we get there. Now, can we do some analysis of what the value is going to be? No more now than we were doing 6 months ago, because we're still in the guessing game as to the metrics and the key components of the metrics and so on.
Sure, sure.
We have got a little bit more knowledge about pricing, not much, but a little bit more knowledge of pricing. It looks like the dollar a mile is where they're settling, which is going to be an awesome number for them from a revenue and earnings point of view, and it's going to be a killer number for Waymo and Uber. I mean, just an absolute frigging killer number. I don't see how they survive that number, but I think that it's a number that's going to be it's going to be the base. So all of this to say that we're not there yet, and we shouldn't count, our chickens because they haven't yet hatched. We think that
I never count my chickens, Larry. You know that. I just give very aggressive, optimistic views of where I think the stock's going.
No.
I'm still
Really?
I'm still at 500 by the end of the year,
Oh man.
or 1,000 if we have 500 cars on the road with no safety rider. Yeah.
I don't think you're going to see no safety drivers, but I definitely think you're going to see more than 500 cars.
Right. Okay. All right. Well, there you go. Now I got one more thing here, Larry, and that is that the Pope did manage to have a conversation. He managed to have something to say about Elon's pay package. I didn't have any idea that the Catholic Church cared how much Elon makes, but it turns out apparently he's paying attention. Now, this is the Chicago Pope. So, he is an American Pope. And is that right? Am I wrong about that? That's right, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I don't pay close attention to these things. But anyway, he said today that he's very worried about this broadening gap, between
Widening gap.
the widening gap between the rich and the poor. So I did a little bit of investigation because he said it's worse than it's ever been in history. And I asked Grok. I said, Grok, talk to me about Rockefeller and Carnegie. I figured those would be two good ones to figure out. Well, he turns out to be right, but I'm not sure it matters much because they both made, counting their compensation as well as their stock appreciation in the companies that they owned. And I compare this to Tesla, and they made 100,000, both of them made roughly 100,000 times their average employee, according to Grok. Only 100,000 times.
Made being income.
Their overall income that they receive by being in those businesses was about 100,000 to 1 compared to their employees.
But Elon receives no income.
No, so you have to take right now, Grok only took into consideration the value of the increase in the stock.
That's bogus.
Well, no, but we considered that in the Rockefeller case as well.
That's bogus.
Well, okay, but I'm trying to figure out some way to do the analysis.
Well, I mean, it's just bogus. You cannot compare. This is one of my major objections to all of this analysis. You guys can't say, and I say you guys, the Pope and you, all of you guys, all constantly confuse capital with income.
Larry, I don't confuse it. I was trying to come up with some way to do an analysis.
That's no way, because it's meaningless. It is an estimate of the potential value versus actual income. Now, it's like comparing the GDP of a country to the income or the
I can give you a great analogy, Larry. I got one right off the tip of my tongue.
Yeah.
So my uncle worked for IBM, and he was a senior engineer. When he retired, he made more money. He had made more money off of his stock in IBM than he had off of his pay. And by the way, he had also bought made a very smart investment in the house that he purchased, which went up dramatically, and he made almost as much money in his real estate acquisition as he did in both of those. But if somebody was looking at him in terms of his lifetime income, they wouldn't say this is how much you made in your stock, this is how much you made in that. They would say this is how much you made on your payroll. So
Yeah,
there's
but
asset accumulation.
if he realized something, if he realized his stock,
Mhm.
that would be income.
Well, not if it was only the amount of that stock that they gave him in compensation, not the amount that it went up after he acquired it.
Right. So income is also realization of stock.
Mhm.
That's actual income. You just, I mean, right now, Elon has never realized the value of his SpaceX stock or his Tesla stock. Actually, he has realized value
Some
from
Tesla
it.
stock, yes.
He has realized value from his Tesla stock. He had that one sale,
Mhm.
or that one series of sales. And there he realized a very large amount of money. And it's true that that income spread over his entire, you know, that and his sale of his last business, PayPal,
PayPal. Mhm.
and his first business, add those all together, that's quite a lot of money. It's many billions of dollars, and that's over his entire working career to date. And so you can divide that by the 30 years and you come up with a really big number.
Oh,
And of course, he paid a huge dollop of tax on that.
yes.
But that's the only income he earns.
Yes. Okay. So, all right, let me um so in other words, what we have to tell the Pope is if there's an asset appreciation involved in the transaction, even though it's an asset appreciation of the company that underpins the the business or
Yeah.
profession that you're in, we can't really count that. Unfortunately, I don't think the Pope's going to buy it. The Pope's just going to
Well,
go,
he doesn't have to
oh,
buy it. I don't much care about what the Pope says. I
okay,
have
but
an absolute.
what he's concerned
I
about,
don't trust the Pope's financial acumen. Look,
you'd be
the
right.
notional value of stock is nothing but
Yes,
a guesstimate of what may
right,
be realized.
right. So the let's say that the populist on the left also wouldn't care. And so if they go into what he's concerned about is the leftists going out into the street and creating mayhem because of these disparate pay packages. And because they're not going to understand either. Uh, all I was really trying to get to by this analysis was those two guys, Carnegie and Roosevelt, made about 100,000 times more than their employees in those same companies, if you count both. Elon is doing better than either one, but it's only 400,000 to one. So I don't think the people in the street are going to care whether it was 400,000 to one or 100,000 to one. It's probably irrelevant to have the
Yeah, but when you say Elon's doing, you mean the notional value of Elon's
notional
share?
value. If we take that apples to apples comparison, it's about 400,000 to one. If you count again the appreciation and the value of the stock, which I agree with you is not the same thing, but I'm trying to look at it from a populist standpoint or a political standpoint. If people are going to be mad, angry, go to the streets, get their pitchforks, you know.
Let them eat cake.
Oh no! Now I have to edit this video. All right, Larry, as long as we're talking about let them eat cake, you've had a few days to think about the whole situation with Charlie Kirk and what's happened since. And we ran out of time. I had so many more things on this list. Anyway, I'm figuring that you might have had some wisdom to impart over the entire following few days of how the press, how the public, how everybody's doing with this situation.
It's very hard for me to understand how so many teachers and public figures can spew such hatred of a person who, if they just listened to what he said and how he thinks, would understand that actually Charlie Kirk was a friend of everyone. I mean, there was nobody he didn't pay respect to, no matter what their perspective or point of view. And it's such a tragedy, such an extraordinary tragedy that people were unable to hear what he was saying and could only, put up this mask on, place this mask on his face, place this balloon of words on his mouth that they imagined he was saying and that imagined he was. He wasn't that kind of person. He was a person with a huge amount of love in his heart for everybody and just willing to talk to anybody, no matter their perspective, and make his point and hear their point and talk to them. And he was an extraordinary person, extraordinary person. He was, the most intellectually rigorous of those on the right. I mean, I didn't agree with everything that he said. I'm not a devout Christian as he was, and so there's a very big gulf between he and me on many things. But my gosh, I had so much respect for him because of his, innate humanity and his willingness to recognize and to debate and to talk to everybody on the other side of his perspective. But the hatred, the sheer inhumanity of these people who are teachers and lecturers and city councillors and politicians, it really, really, really leads me to believe that, the liberal left have really just lost all perspective in terms of humanity. And I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of people attack me for this, but I mean, I just have to call it the way it is.
Yeah, I've already talked about it on X for days, and I haven't actually had anybody attacking me, even the liberals who follow me and who debate me all the time. Nobody has really said that they thought I was a horrible person for saying it. I have been a little shocked, Larry. You and I have talked about the whole, Jewish problem, the anti-Semitism problem, etc. We know, we know that during the Holocaust years, during the years when Jews were being killed uh, just because they were Jewish, that there were people in towns that they would go to these towns. They would invite the public to come out and watch the executions, and the people would come out and watch the executions. So sometimes when we think that humans can't be this way, it's kind of shocking the ways that they can be. And we're seeing that in our own population right now. We're seeing
Yeah. And it's very hard to believe.
it's hard to see it. And what's even harder for me is that they would do it in public. You might have those thoughts in your head, and you might say it in the mirror, you might say it under your breath. And even then, I would recommend that if you are laughing about the execution of a public figure, if you're laughing out loud about that, you probably do need to see somebody. You probably need to have some therapeutic help.
But
But
who
to
would
do
you
it in
see,
public,
Randy? Who would you see? You'd see a therapist who has the same political view. What
you'd
would
go
they
to a
say?
Christian,
They'd
you go to a
mean,
Christian therapist. I never go to a secular therapist. I've been to several therapists over the last 35 years, and I've never been to a secular therapist in the last 35 years. No, I wouldn't send anybody to a secular therapist.
I've lost the light, and so
Okay.
very
Well,
bad, very
let's,
bad.
yeah, you look fine, Larry. You just look a little gray. That's
Little
all.
gray, little
A little
gray.
gray. Let's look at the numbers. We'll leave
Yeah.
that for another day. Tesla was up. We already mentioned this, up 3.56%. That got us to 410. And we were actually at 430, I think was the high overnight. But I don't think it was at that high during the day. Let's see,
It was pretty high during the day because I was traveling.
420, 425.70 was the high for the day.
There you
Came
go.
down to 410. Again, that is almost exactly this old high. And in the after hours, we have, why don't I have the after hours here? Here we go. We're up a little bit, up, yeah, 75 cents or something. So not very much right now. I'm thinking we go up this week, Larry. Probably either way. The markets were completely flat today. By the way, I said that this morning. I take no credit for knowing the markets will be completely flat 2 days before the Fed is making the most important decision they've made in 7 months. Maybe longer, 10 months, whatever it was the last time they cut. That was almost a year, huh?
All right. So I guess we should make a prediction.
Okay. 25 points.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm afraid so.
Yeah. Unfortunately. And then I think Tesla goes up. I think the market goes up. I think they're going to be.
I think the market goes down.
Okay, so here's the history. When the Fed's first cut is because of a recession, it goes down. If the Fed's first cut is because it's just the right thing to do and it's not a recession, the market goes up. That's historical.
I think it's a cut and a recession.
Well, yeah, you think it's a recession, but the general population of economists don't think it's a recession.
They're wrong. I'm right.
I didn't mean it that way. I meant from the standpoint of the people who are making decisions whether to buy or sell stocks, they don't see us in a recession right now. I understand your
They
argument.
do. I
I'm
think
not.
they do. I think that in reality they do.
You think in reality they do? Okay. All right. Okay. Well, we'll see what happens on Wednesday after the decision of the FOMC. All right. So in the meantime, bonds did come off a little bit again today, Larry. They had gone up on Friday, but they came back down, but they're still sitting above 4%.
Hmm.
So we are at 4.03.
Much more important than all of this,
Yes,
after the FOMC makes its decision, what will the rate be?
what will the 10-year be? And we're at 4.04, 4.04. I'm predicting we'll be under 4 by the end of the week, but I predicted that last week too. And we were for a minute, like, I don't know, 5 minutes, something like that. There was actually an article today, Larry, that was saying that
We're going to call you the 5-minute man.
it was an article today that said the fact that it went back up above 4 was a signal. And I'm like, how could that? It was only under 4 for like, I'm not even close to the whole session. Anyway, so we'll see what happens. That's going to be a very important situation on Wednesday. We've got oil hanging in there. In fact, everything, Larry, we could go, this is going to be easy. Everything is flat. We go right across. Okay. The closest thing to a movement is Bitcoin, which is down 0.32. That's the most movement we have in the pre-markets right now. Everything else is basically unchanged, all asset classes. Because why?
Well, nobody wants to make a move before the Fed
Before
comes.
Wednesday. Yeah, right. So I think we could get another gold star tomorrow if we predicted today that tomorrow it will be a flat market. Unless there's some news, obviously.
You may be right.
No. All right. Last bit of wisdom.
The last bit of wisdom, I think that we're about to enter a new era,
Okay.
and I think this is going to be the era of Musk.
You just disappeared, Larry. Lean forward. There
I
you go.
came back. I came back.
The era of Musk. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think, if you look at all of Musk companies, they're about to hit their stride on every front. And so if you think that, he's achieved a lot in the last 10 years, you ain't seen nothing yet.
Okay. All right. I can go along with that. I've been talking about 2026 for 2.5 years now. I think 2026 is going to be humongous. Well, he says epic. So there you go.
The era of Musk.
The era of Musk. All right. We'll write that down too. Larry, enjoy the rest of your drive home. And as always, it's exciting and fun to have you on. And now I got to figure out what I'm going to do with that thumbnail.
Okay. Have fun.
Bye for now. And to all of you out there, it's been great talking to you.